and welcome to Rugby Talk with Sammy. We are coming to you live, and by we I mean just me, and not live, filmed. After the semi-finals, guys, I know I said this after France as well, but I was almost deceased, okay? I can't stand it anymore. It's not good for my health, but at the same time I love it. I just love it. Anyway, let's talk about the first semi-final game, aka the most boring semi-final in history, New Zealand versus Argentina. I actually left my house at 9 o'clock to go and watch this game, and it wasn't worth waiting up for. Okay, I'm not being rude, it's just how it is. I was very frustrated on behalf of Argentina because I don't get it. They look good, like especially at the start they looked like they were on the unfold, you know, and then nothing comes of it. And I think it's that afronding that they need to get, and you get that with experience. The more you play, the bigger teams you play, it comes with time, and they have improved and improved and improved. But yeah, they look good, but then it doesn't amount to anything. Very easy win for New Zealand. Not much drama. But if you want to see drama, let's move on to the next game, South Africa versus England. My heart was palpitating. I don't know if that's so good, but it sounds right. And I was watching in a public place. I'm sure there's footage of me springing up and off and showing middle finger to the TV whenever Owen Farrell comes up, okay? Because I can't stand his face. I don't really know why, but when I see his face, it makes me nauseous and angry. Anyway, let's start off with player number 1, the ref. A lot of talks about the ref. A lot of English people who thinks he gave us the game, which, I mean, I don't know what game you were watching, but anyway, a lot of South Africans who thinks he was number 16th man for England. I don't like to talk about refs. I don't like to play along with that stereotype that South Africans always blames the ref, because you know what? That stereotype is everyone. Every bloody game is someone who thinks it's the ref's fault. In this case, what do I think about this ref's performance on the night? I think he was cock. I'm just going to leave it there. A lot of the things that he blasted for, it's not just like he missed things, like he blasted, and I was like, what? Are you in an alternate dimension and we are seeing different things? But anyway, that's all I'm going to say. I don't think his performance was great, but I'm leaving that there. Nothing to do with the outcome of the game, in my opinion. South Africa didn't play as good as expected, and England played much better than expected. Okay. When it comes to South Africa, I don't know what game plan they were going into the game with, but it was clear that it wasn't working from the start. England came with the intensity, and it was clear that they are there to prove a point. Okay, they wanted to prove to everyone who thought this is going to be easy that no, it's not going to be easy. And a lot of people thought it's going to be an easy peasy walk in the park. I never thought so, because that's not how rugby works, and especially not against a team like England. So let's start with England's performance. Like I said, they came with an intensity that just overpowered the Springboks from the beginning. They never really looked like they went for a try though, or maybe sometimes a little bit, but never really close to a try. And it's interesting to me because a lot of people talk about the Springboks that doesn't play nice rugby to look at, and I don't get it, because I love the Springbok style of rugby. All these European countries who wants to play the game without scrums, like that is the best part. Like, I love a good scrum. And people like that Matt crying to my cornflakes Williams dude, who always complains about us abusing the bench, and we have those big players. He's always complaining, but if it was his team who had that capability, then he would not have complained. Okay, Anyway, I'm going off track because I'm so annoyed by everything. We'll get to everything now. The Springboks weren't playing great, especially at the start, especially the first half, even a bit of the second half. But the depth that the Springboks has really saved their gatte in this game. A lot of people says it's luck. Maybe a little, although I won't call it luck. One can argue that England was lucky to make the semi-finals and unlucky on the day, because if you look at the majority of the game, they played better in the majority of the game. But a game is played for 80 minutes. And because we have the depth and the options on the bench, we don't just have a 15-man team and the rest is just per ongeluk for in case. Now we have a whole squad that is brilliant. And that saved our gatte, because if someone has a bad day or they're not performing or their style of rugby doesn't work against the team they are playing, we have options. And when Ox came on, like Master Ox, he scrumped the Engeland muur toe, and that is why England is sour. Don't be a sour grape. Not a sour grape, a sour grape. Don't be a sour grape. It was a fantastic game and also a cock game, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that even though we had a bad game, let's call it what it is, we still managed to scrape by and win the thing. And that is because we are a better team than England. I'm not saying that in a windgat way. It's just a fact. We were supposed, on books, on paper, we were supposed to beat England a lot more convincingly, because we are a better team. Alright. At the end of the day, it was an ugly game. It wasn't fun to watch. I wasn't having a good time. A majority of the game, I was standing in the parking lot, watching through the doors, just so I can get fresh air and say that I don't use very foul language in between people. It wasn't a good game, but a pint is a pint. We managed to get the win, and that is one thing about the Springboks that I will always admire. Okay, they never lay down. Okay, and I am not inside their heads, but I'm sure while they were playing the game, they knew it wasn't going well, and they were continuously fighting. And I'm sure in their minds was this thing of they are fighting for South Africa and they're not going to give up. They want to make South Africa proud. I'm sure of it. I'm bloody sure of it. Anyway, now all of that is verby. It is written in the books. It is how it is. I need the rest of the world to calm their tits now, because this is now enough. All the sour grapes. France is still crying into their croissants. England, you know, it's enough now. What's done is done. There was some amazing games in this series. It shows how rugby has changed, because in the pool games, Ireland beat South Africa, but New Zealand beat Ireland. Okay, but France beat New Zealand, but South Africa beat France. You know what I'm saying? There's amazing teams. The competition is tougher, and there can only be one person who wins the World Cup, not one person, one team. So instead of crying and being sore losers and complaining the whole time and sending death threats to players, get over it. It's how it is. We are in the final. South Africa and New Zealand, the two best rugby teams in the world. And that is not windgat, okay? It is a fact. Look at who won the World Cups so far. No, but Ireland is a better team. They are a fantastic team with no World Cups, okay? Don't be a sour grape. All I want to do now is I want to focus on that final, because I'm excited. The first time since 95 that we're going to be in a final with New Zealand. And South Africa and New Zealand have this rivalry, but like a respectful one. We respect the cock out of New Zealand. It's not like the rivalry with England where we just don't like them. I'm being honest. That is how it is. Okay. What I wanted to say after the game is I was very impressed by the way that England handled the loss. Okay, Owen Farrell, who everyone knows by now, I cannot like that man. He looks like a pudding face. He's so smug. He thinks the sun shines out of his gut. I don't like him. But I got respect for him after the game in the way that he handled it. Shook everyone's hands, the way he talked afterwards. He showed a side of him that I haven't seen before. And the entire England team, they handled it like winners. But then, the words was not even out of my mouth about, they handled it like champs. Then this racism complaint against Bongi came out. And I'm just like... And before anyone says anything, I take racism very seriously. And I'm not one of those people who thinks that, no, you can't be racist towards white people. You can be racist against anyone. If you are rude and mean and disrespectful to someone because of the color of their skin, then you are racist. Fact, point, klaar. But this is obviously a misunderstanding. And it leaves a sour taste in my mouth. Okay? Because what people like England need to understand is there's more languages in the world than just English. And of course, if you are in a rugby team and you have the option of using another language to communicate with each other about plays or which side is what and what, you're going to use it. I'm so tired of this business. And let me tell you something. That C word, I've thought about this. I've sat down and I tried to think of any occasion where I've ever heard a South African use that word. And I can't think of one. I can think of examples where Afrikaans people use the Afrikaans version, but I've never heard a South African use that word. Ever. I see it on like videos and stuff from Australia and from Ireland and what and on television and in comedy shows, but we don't use that word in South Africa. So isn't it common sense in the middle of the game, if you hear rumbling and a word that sounds like something, are you not going to think that maybe I misunderstood and try to sort it out? I'm tired of it. And this is every week. After France, now we cheated, the ref was on our side, which I still can't believe there's people who think that after that game and the choices that was made. Now it's this, it feels like suddenly the world is against us. Why? We are bloody delightful. Anyway, what I want to say as self-elected coach Sammy, this message goes out to the Springboks. Guys, please try to drown out the noise, okay? Because all of this, I don't know why everyone is suddenly attacking South Africa and trying to make us seem like we are arrogant. We are not. What do we have to be arrogant about? Our country is falling apart. All we have is rugby, okay? And I don't want to be dramatic, but if there's international people watching this, I cannot speak about what rugby means to you, but I can speak to what rugby means to me as a South African. And I know it sounds dramatic, but we take it seriously because we have a lot of issues in this country. A lot of times people don't get along. We have load shedding, we have potholes, crime, people who hate each other for no reason. There's a lot going on here. But every time when there's a Rugby World Cup and we look like we have a chance to take this thing, and you sit in public watching the game, and there's people of all races, ages, sexes, such a diverse amount of people, and everyone cheers at the same time. Everyone goes, oh, fuck, what now? At the same time. At the end, when we flip and manage to win by 1 point for the second time, everyone jumps up at the same time, hugs each other. We are strangers. But in that moment, it shows what South Africa is capable of. It shows that on the ground, we do not have problems with each other. We can be a great bloody country if the up aboves don't continue to try and divide us. Okay? When that team comes back with the World Cup in their hands again, hopefully, né? And they come here and they ride through the streets. There's players there of all races and from different backgrounds and with different stories, and each and every South African can relate to at least one of them. We take it seriously. It's a passionate thing. The Springboks plays for South Africans and we love them and we are passionate about supporting them. We are not arrogant, we are passionate, and I've never seen one of our players be arrogant before. We have the most humble captain in the entire world. Stop your nonsense, stop your hate, okay? Support whoever you want, but South Africa and New Zealand is in the final. Deal with it. I don't want to hear any more drama. It's now just about rugby. Don't come with your nonsense. It makes me frustrated. Anyway, message to the Springboks was what I was busy with. Drown out all the noise. Okay, don't listen to all this business. You have a nation standing behind you. We love you. Bokke, if you are watching this by chance, we love you. We know that this is a misunderstanding. We know, okay, that you are a humble man and you will not go and tell someone that lelike woord for no reason, just sommer be racist. Please, man. We are on your kant, Bongie, is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, I feel like I'm rambling. New Zealand versus South Africa. Now I must probably make a prediction, and I honestly don't know. It's like a 50-50 situation. I just hope the Springboks goes with an open mind, with forgetting all this cuck that's out there, goes with a game plan that will suit their style and New Zealand's defense, if that makes sense, and stop with the cock kicking. Okay, I know there's a place for it, and there's some countries who does that well, né? There's some countries who the kicking thing works out for. We are not one of them. You're just giving away your possession. If you are kicking with a plan, that's another thing. If you are kicking and you're volging up, that's another thing. But not just scoop away your possession, no reason. It makes me on my anxiousness. But whatever happens, we love you. Please win the World Cup. Okay, for me and for South Africa. And yeah, it's going to be great. I'm so excited. South Africa versus New Zealand. You know, in the first one in 1995, I was 4 years old. I couldn't appreciate it. I've seen the game afterwards, like when I was older, and I've heard the stories and all that things, but I wasn't like cognitive enough. Is that a word? I don't know. But the two greatest rugby nations in the world meets again. I'm excited, and I have a feeling this is going to be the game of the tournament. Well, it's supposed to be, it's the final, but we've had so many massive games, like South Africa and Ireland felt like a final. South Africa and France felt like a final. South Africa and England felt like a fork-up. I'm excited. Springboks, we love you. South Africa, I love you. Don't let people divide us. Don't let anybody tell us that we are not supposed to get along, because they are talking cock. Whoever says that is talking cock. We have the capability of being the greatest country in the world. Hear what I'm saying to you. This has moved on from rugby to being a motivational speech. My voice is going. Are you hearing it? It's going. I have to rest it before Saturday's game. Anyway, I don't know if anything in this video is going to make sense, because I was up and down, yin and weer. My point is, the weekend's game wasn't good. It frustrated me. Springboks wasn't their best, but even at their not best, they managed to win, because they are a good team and they deserve to be in the final. Anyone who doesn't think that can fuck off. Okay? Alright. We'll chat again later. And I'm sorry, this is now on YouTube because it's way too long for Facebook and TikTok. Alright. We'll chat again later. And guys, let's stand behind our boys in the green and the gold. Okay. Okay, bye.